Dear students, it is the third video and we are covering the basic communication barriers at the working place. In the previous discussion, I covered the different aspects of the physical barriers, and now we are going on the psychological barriers. Psychological barriers have been already been discussed, that the psychological barriers are low esteem, anxiety, tension, under pressure, and these points are involved in the psychological barriers, and they must be checked, and the top boss and the authorities should identify those people who are suffering with the low esteem and should conduct some programs to enhance their self-esteem and to bring them into the mainstream so that they may boost the confidence. Now, organizational structure barriers. Organizational structure barriers are also one of the common barriers that are very common and creating problems. Let's see, there are different organization structures. Some are called the bureaucratic organizations, means the horizontal organizations, and some are called some are democratic organizations, and some are called bureaucratic organizations. In democratic organization approach, that you have seen the modern multinational companies, that their boss and their executives and the workers, they all remain at the same place. Everybody is available at one call, they can meet freely. However, they have certain protocols, but their communication is easier, whereas the conventional communication, the conventional official communication made in the government sector, that there is a hierarchy, in a minister, then secretary and the under secretary, and the downwards till the last person, clerk. It is the communication barrier that the clerk cannot talk directly to the minister, he cannot put his request, he has always to put the respect to the immediate boss, whereas the top authority always issues different kind of injunctions and others, and normally these communication barriers remain a trouble and the people cannot get the good picture, and this is the flaw of the organizational structure barrier. Let's see, companies with unclear structure can make communication difficult. For example, they may have an inefficient information sharing and communication system. Employees may not know what their role is in the communication system. If a company has a complex structure with lots of management levels, information will be lost, distorted as it travels through each layer of the hierarchy. I mean, it's a very burning question that where there are many people, there is a hierarchy, there are complexities in communication, the system becomes delay, the information is distorted, and the operation of the very office is congealed. Whereas if the organization is oversimplified, no person is exactly knowing the duties and the responsibilities and rights, there is confusion. Normally this confusion is visible in our government sector, where there is not the things are loosely codified. Well, next to the communication barriers, perceptual barriers. Perceptual barriers are related to our own views, means the worst thing in our life is being arrested by our own ideologies, by close-mindedness, by self-esteem, by self-proudness. This is a perceptual barrier, and in this perceptual barrier it causes immense tension and struggle to the people. Let's read. Perceptual barriers. Differing opinions and views can reduce objectivity. mean where you share your views and different of opinions comes, there is obviously a better position. You may enter a conversation assuming that the listener will not understand you or be uninterested in what you are speaking about. This may subsequently lead you to unintentionally harming our message, such as using dismissive language and trying to be more humorous. In this way, the flaw has been highlighted that if a person has already made up a mind about someone, that the very person I'm going to meet, whether it's a boss, whether some person, he is not a good person. He never pay respect to the subordinates and he always cuts jokes. Then the person won't communicate, and but at the back end he will keep talking loosely, he will backbiting, he will be criticizing, he will be spreading confusion and tension in the organization. Thereby perceptual barriers should be corrected by both ends. If there are certain proper problems within the organization, the higher management look at it, and if there are perceptual barriers within the person, so every person should analyze his conduct and manner and see whether his character and duties and manners subscribe with the organizational policy or not. Fine, let's see. Or you may be listener that doesn't agree with the speaker's beliefs, so you choose not to listen properly, or you look for faults in what you are saying rather than trying to understand. Means if you are a choosy one and you have already made a slanted perception, that is a problem. Attentional barriers. Attentional barrier is a common barrier that is very common, that exists in students, especially in the top officers, that they hardly listen to the conversation. And unfortunately, even you see that people are parliamentarians sitting in the parliament and there is a very important discussions going on. They hardly pay attention. They are busy with their own colleagues making jokes, cutting, hooting, this and that. So let's read. The listener may not pay enough attention to what is being said. Perhaps they are distracted, uninterested, or they think the speaker's topic is irrelevant. This is very common in written communication, such as not reading the minutes for a team meeting. Communication is two-way. Without paying attention and actively listening, you will not understand the message. Here means that people, when they are issued different kind of letters, different kind of warnings, announcements, they do not read the message. They do not go into the depth. And if there is an announcement, they just uh, they they just for granted and let it go, and then finally they suffer when they are asked questions. Too much information means loading some person with unnecessary information, that in the congregation of information the person loses the key points and remains in confusion. Means the rule is to be concise, precise, factual, and direct. Let's read. Providing someone with an overwhelming amount of details can confuse them and distract from your message. This is especially the case if the message has a lot of information that is new to the receiver. New, clear? Make sure you avoid information overload in meetings where people can easily switch off. In this discussion, we have talked about a couple of barrier communication, of various perceptual barriers and the attention barriers and loading of information. Hope you have understood it. Thank you very much.